cities of Volsinii, Perusia, and Arretium sued for peace, and after each paying an indemnity of 500,000 asses, obtained truces.
Wait. You said 500,000 ass. What? Wait. Did I hear that properly? What? Third Samnite War. Videos have been late due to the fact that I have been sick and I've been sleeping. If you have noticed though behind me that I have this thing here, it was a Christmas gift. This is also a Christmas gift too, but I just now decided to set it up and add it on. But anyways, yeah, Third Samnite War, you know.
The Samnite attempt to forge an anti-Roman coalition had been dashed at the Battle of Sentinum.
This series was...
and Rome's victory at the
This series is actually quite good. I genuinely, kind of forgot about it. I not forgot, but I had so many suggestions that it left my head.
Plains had further weakened Samnite manpower. But a cornered beast is the most dangerous. As the Roman historian Livy noted with praise, the stubborn Samnites refused to admit defeat, preparing to fight tooth and nail to defend their liberty. Every Samnite warrior took an oath that they will fight to the death. At Aquilonia, the Romans were about to meet their fiercest opponent yet.
Until Hannibal, that is.
The consuls elected for 294 BC were Marcus Atilius Regulus and Lucius Postumius Magellus. Having previously served as consul in 305, Postumius had ended the Second Samnite War after winning victories in the field and capturing the city of Bovianum. The Senate hoped that he could again force the Samnites to surrender. Indeed, the Romans had already drawn on his experience during the Sentinum campaign, granting him propraetorial imperium to help defend Rome and raid Etruria. Regulus was the first to take the field, but he was confronted by a Samnite army on a road connecting Roman and Samnite territory. Increasingly desperate, the Samnites made the bold decision to attack the Roman camp, using the setting sun and foggy weather to surprise and overwhelm the Roman sentries.
Ooh.
The Samnites seized the tent of the quaestor, whom they killed, and advanced as far as the middle of the camp before withdrawing. Finding his position untenable, Regulus then retreated his army to Sora, but he was soon joined by his colleague, whose departure from Rome had been delayed by illness. The combining of consular armies prompted the Samnites to withdraw back to Samnium rather than risk a battle. However, the Samnites did not adopt an entirely defensive stance, sending an army into Apulia to besiege Rome's ally, Luceria.
I mean, yeah, if you take a defensive stance, you're just basically delaying the inevitable. But yeah, I don't know how. I mean, Samni is obviously going to win.
Regulus marched to
lose. My bad. But after that battle last time that we saw,
the aid of Luceria, while Postumius invaded Samnium, storming the city of Malonia. This prompted several other Samnite towns to be abandoned, which Postumius occupied. Meanwhile, Regulus was intercepted by a smaller Samnite army near Luceria and suffered a defeat. The fact that the Samnites initiated and won this battle, despite their numerical inferiority, again reflected both their desperation and their ferocity. Eventually, after restoring the morale of his men, Regulus attacked the Samnite army while it was on the march and at a disadvantage. He surrounded the army and forced its surrender, with 4,800 Samnites killed and 7,800 captured. But 7,800 Romans had also been killed over the course of the two battles. Regulus then marched against the Volscents, perhaps seeking a softer target. While Regulus overcame the Volscents, the Samnites avoided engaging Postumius. As a result, Postumius switched theatres of war to advance against the Etruscans. Without seeking the Senate's permission, he marched into Etruria, where he won an engagement against the Volsinii and stormed the town of Rucellai. Soon after, 3 of the larger states of Etruria, the cities of Volsinii, Perusia, and Arretium, sued for peace, and after each paying an indemnity of 500,000 asses, obtained truces.
Wait. You said 500,000 ass. What? Wait. Did I hear that properly? What?
Won an engagement against the Volsinii and stormed the town of Rucellai. Soon after, 3 of the larger states of Etruria, the cities of Volsinii, Perusia, and Arretium, sued for peace, and after each paying an indemnity of 500,000 asses, obtained...
Bro! Oh my gosh! Oh my... Oh, I should not be laughing when I'm sick, bro. But, oh, 500,000 asses? What? Oh my god. Okay, that is funny.
Truces for 40 years. Before the end of the year, the Samnites launched another offensive, attempting to capture the Roman colony of Interamna. Failing to take it, their column was attacked and defeated by Regulus.
Bro, Samnites
increasingly frustrated,
right
leaders
now.
of the Samnite Confederacy chose to revive an ancient custom. Holding a levy, they created a force of 16,000 men, known as the Linen Legion. This legion included Samnite...
I'm surprised they even have manpower at this point.
...nobility, as well as those distinguished for their military achievements. The priest Ovius Pacius had the warriors bound by an ancient oath that demanded that they fight to the death. One by one, the Samnite warriors entered an enclosure in the center of their camp, which was shielded from prying eyes by a linen cloth. There, each Samnite warrior approached an altar and recited the oath, which was read to them from a book made of linen. The oath imprecated a curse on the warrior, his family, and his race if he did not go into battle where the commander should lead him, if he fled from battle, or if he did not at once slay anyone whom he saw fleeing. The warrior swore not to divulge what he saw or heard in the enclosure. Livy claims that those who refused the oath were slain on the spot, and their life devoted to Jupiter.
Wow! Wow! So you're basically just being forced to fight. Wow! What the heck?
Beside the altar, amongst the remains of sacrificial victims, where they served as a warning.
Wait, I did not hear that properly. Wait, what did he say?
Devoted to Jupiter. Their bodies were left to lie beside the altar, amongst the remains of sacrificial victims, where they served as a warning. Forming the core of the Samnite army, the legionaries were given white armor, possibly linathorax, to distinguish themselves from their comrades. They were joined by nearly 20,000 other soldiers who, Livy reports, were not inferior as warriors. The army proceeded to invade Campania. When the Romans elected the consuls for 293 BC, they chose 2 men who had not yet held the consulship, but were of great promise. Spurius Carvilius was a talented novus homo, and Lucius Papirius Cursor was the son of his namesake father, one of the most successful generals of the Second Samnite War. Furthermore, the consuls were both assigned experienced legates. Postumius accompanied Carvilius, and Papirius was joined by Scipio Barbatus and Volumnius. Having been nicknamed the Flame and the Violent for his victories earlier in the war, Volumnius would prove a
that's hard. The Flame. I like that name. The Flame.
Valuable advisor. Papirius raised a fresh army, and Carvilius took over the legions of Regulus. Advancing into Samnium, Carvilius seized the city of Amiternum, and Papirius captured the city of Duronia, the consuls killing and capturing thousands. The Roman invasion forced the Samnite army, including the Linen Legion, to return to the defense of their homeland. They encamped near the city of Aquilonia. Papirius marched his army to their position, and Carvilius ravaged the Atenate country before advancing on the city of Cominium. Here he made camp outside the city, about 20 Roman miles from the camp of his colleague.
I'm done spending.
While Papirius skirmished with the Samnite force,
How much is 20 Roman miles, though? How much is that in actual miles or kilometers?
Carvilius built siege engines. Papirius intended to offer battle on the same day as the Roman assault on Cominium. Just as Papirius was preparing for battle, he learned from a deserter that the general of the main Samnite army had dispatched 20 cohorts, about 8,000 men, to aid the garrison in Cominium.
Bruh, of course it's a deserter. I swear, all these stuff that I watch, it's always a freaking deserter. What the heck?
To inform Carvilius, who then ordered Brutus Scaeva to intercept the force with the 1st Legion and 10 auxiliary cohorts, around 8,500 men. However, when the Samnite detachment was only 7 Roman miles from Cominium, the Samnite general outside Aquilonia recalled them back to their camp, as Papirius had now drawn up his army for battle. The detachment would not make it back in time for the battle. The close coordination of Papirius and Carvilius and Samnite indecision ensured that 8,000 Samnite warriors would participate in neither engagement.
What? What?
The Samnite army still had around 28,000 men, whereas Papirius, commanding a standard consular army, had around 20,000. However,
bro, imagine if those 8,000 men, wow.
Conferring with Volumnius and Scipio, they drew up an ingenious plan to defeat their enemy. Volumnius took the position of honor, commanding the army's right wing, whereas Scipio commanded the left. Meanwhile, a detachment of 3 auxiliary cohorts was entrusted to Spurius Nazius, who was ordered to collect the mules in the Roman baggage train. Nazius was to then lead the mules and their handlers along a circuitous route out of sight of both armies. As horns blared and warriors roared, the Roman and Samnite infantry advanced into battle. Both sides were steeled for the clash. Not only were the Samnites fighting for their freedom, but they had superior numbers, and the Linen Legion had sworn to fight to the death. On the other hand, the Romans could take comfort in the prestige, talent, and experience of their commanders, and after multiple victories in the field, they knew that final victory was in sight. The Romans fought aggressively despite their inferior numbers, forcing the Samnites onto the defensive. The flanks under Volumnius and Scipio pressed the Samnites from both sides, and the Roman center was also gaining ground. The Samnites brought up the second line to re-galvanize their forces. However, as they did so, a cloud of dust arose along a rise in the ground on the flank of both armies. It was Nazius and his auxiliaries. The auxiliary cohorts made themselves visible to both armies. However, while not being more than 1,200 in number, they raised a much larger dust cloud than should have been the case. It was all a trick.
Oh, that is absolutely genius, bro. That is so smart.
Followers
What
mounted upon the mules were dragging leafy boughs along the ground, and so it looked as though the auxiliaries were leading a much larger column. The Roman and Samnite legionaries were both deceived, believing that Carvilius had arrived with the other consular army. Papirius and his legates endorsed the false belief, urging their men to seize victory before the other army could claim the credit. Samnite morale was shaken. Moreover, in accordance with a predetermined plan, the Roman cavalry commanders Trebonius and Caedicius launched an attack after noting the appearance of Nazius's force. The Equites and allied cavalry forced back the Samnite horsemen, and some of them wheeled about to attack the flanks of the Samnite infantry.
Wow,
As the Samnite infantry on the flanks turned to face the Roman cavalry, Volumnius and Scipio focused their attacks against the fronts of these units. The Samnites buckled and routed, their fear of the gods yielding to their terror of the Romans. Those opposite Volumnius appear to have been the first to break. Volumnius the Violent pursued the fleeing enemy to their camp, which he captured. Meanwhile, Scipio pursued part of the enemy army to Aquilonia itself and captured one of the gates from the panicking enemy. That night, the Samnites abandoned the city. According to Livy, more than 20,000 Samnites were killed and nearly 4,000
Dude, what? Holy.
captured, with few
That's vast majority of the art. What? Whoa.
4,000 escaping the battle.
Whoa.
The Romans also captured 97 of the enemy standards. According to the later...
I think this is the craziest casualty, strength to casualty ratio that I've... What the hell?
Historian Orosius, the Romans killed 12,000. The modesty of the figure may render it more likely, but Orosius was more prone to mistakes. In addition to Papirius's victory, on the same day Carvilius assaulted Cominium. Having sent nearly half his army to intercept the Samnite detachment, his remaining forces nonetheless prepared to take the city. After covering every gate to prevent the enemy from sallying out, the Romans scaled part of the walls and broke through one of the gates.
Oh wow, that was relatively easy.
The garrison retreated to the Forum to make a final stand. But after further fighting, they surrendered.
Dude, imagine being like the first guy to scale a wall, or like you're like the first guy who has to walk in a breakthrough. How are you surviving that? I don't even think you can survive that. I like, oh my goodness, dude. It's like Mountain Blade freaking no, like seriously, how are you surviving that, bro? Like I think about that, I'm like, it's either you get a shield and you relentlessly hold it to you tightly so you don't instantly get cut down, or you throw your weapon to push the enemy back out of fear to make room for other people to come in and fill in the gap quickly before you get overwhelmed. I don't know, man. Like seriously, think about that. You're the first guy scaling a ladder. I think a ladder would be much more worse than like going through a breakthrough from like a wall or like a broken gate. A ladder, you're literally going in a kill zone. Pretty much. Like, how are you gonna survive being the first guy to hop out of a ladder or scaling a wall with a bunch of enemies on it? Like,
ended. Nearly 5,000 Samnites were killed and more than 11,000 surrendered. Never had the Samnites experienced a more disastrous day of fighting. The Samnite detachment of 20 cohorts soon learned of the disaster at Aquilonia, and early the next morning they beat a hasty retreat. Harassed by Roman cavalry, the Samnites left behind 22 more standards in their hurry to escape. The consuls made good use of their victories. Papirius marched towards Cypinum while being pursued by another Samnite force. Frequently skirmishing with this force, he defeated the Samnites in a battle outside the gates of Cypinum. Thus forcing the Samnites to submit to a siege, he stormed the city, killing 7,400 and capturing 3,000. Carvilius assaulted and captured Velia, Palumbinum, and Herculaneum.
Who the heck are these?
Then, prompted by renewed hostility among the Etruscans, who were joined by the Falici, Carvilius was ordered to invade Etruria. Here he captured Troilum, as well as 5 forts. The Falici sent a delegation to Carvilius suing for peace. They obtained a 1-year truce in return for supplying a year's pay for Carvilius's soldiers, as well as an indemnity of 100,000 asses.
Bro. Bro. Oh my gosh, not this. No way it's actually called that. Why is he pronouncing it like that? Is that what it's actually called?
At the end of the year, both consuls celebrated triumphs, and Carvilius, having captured 11 towns and forts, was honored with the cognomen Maximus. In a final bid to defeat the Romans in the field, in 292 BC, the Samnites appointed Gaius Pontius as their supreme general, the man who had defeated the Romans at the Caudine Forks nearly
Bro, how the hell do they even have the manpower for this?
30 years prior. Now an elderly man, he invaded Campania. Emboldened, the Falici also renewed their efforts against Rome. However, the consul Brutus Scaeva, accompanied by Carvilius as his legate, defeated the Falici.
Exactly, like, bro, like, y'all forgot. Like, come on now, like, come on now. Like, y'all actually forgot, like, who these people are? Like, know your place.
Brutus plundered the lands of the Falici and Etruscans, who again sued for peace, finally ending the northern theater of war.
Of course.
Meanwhile, the consul appointed to confront Pontius was Fabius Gorges, son of Fabius Maximus Rullianus. Moreover, reacting to the threat posed by the notorious Samnite, the Senate appointed Rullianus to serve as his son's legate. Gorges, desirous of winning glory independent of his father, force-marched his army into Campania without waiting for his father's arrival, outpacing his own baggage train.
Bro, he's gonna...
However, the Roman column was surprised by Pontius's Samnites, who attacked in a compact formation and inflicted a major defeat. Only the coming of night prevented the Roman army's destruction. Many of the wounded subsequently died because they had marched too far ahead of the camp physicians. Luckily, Fabius Rullianus soon arrived and took over de facto command of his son's army. No detailed account survives of the engagement that followed, but in the final major battle of the Third Samnite War, the two most accomplished generals on either side, who had both been commanding armies since the 320s, fought the last great contest in the field.
Oh, we don't have no details.
And Orosius relates that Rullianus rescued his son from certain death.
Oh,
in the end, the Romans defeated the Samnites, slaying around 20,000 and capturing 4,000, including Pontius himself.
Wow.
If such figures are accurate, the Romans may have surrounded the Samnite army.
Yeah.
Pontius was beheaded during the subsequent triumph. The defeat of the Samnites had now become inevitable. The Fabii spent the remainder of the year capturing the towns of the Pentri, the most numerous of the Samnite tribes. In 291 BC, Postumius Magellan captured several towns, including Cominium Occitum and the major city of Venusia. At Postumius's proposal, the Senate sent 20,000 colonists to occupy Venusia.
Well,
in establishing...
got conquered, and now you're gonna get colonized. It's like what I said in my Islam reactions. It's like, dude, so people have this really horrible idea of what colonialism is. Colonialism, like, people confuse colonialism with barbarism. Like, no, colonialism is when you just you go from one place and you settle down into another place. That is literally colonialism, right? Or colonialism is just when you're you do that actually, and you're just extracting resources from a place, like a mining colony, right? Like, usually when you have a mining colony, you go from one place to a foreign place with a bunch of resources, and you basically set up shop there. Saying that metaphorically, you set up shop there. You basically set up base here with the goal of extracting resources. But no, a bunch of people who just do not understand what colonialism is. Just too many times I see too many like ignorant people in my comments just do not understand what that is, man. Like, again, like, yes, you know, like people confuse colonialism with like being conquered and being barbarized, which is understandable because, you know, due to the fact that they go hand in hand, they usually coincide each other, right? When you conquer something, obviously you're going to settle it with your own people. I mean, you conquer it, you took it from someone, right? But again, conquering does not mean colonizing, okay? These are two separate words. Please get it right, because way too many people misunderstand that logic.
By far the largest colony to date, and placing it in the Samnite heartland, the Romans strengthened their control over a people on the verge of defeat.
Yeah.
Cominium Occitum and the major city of Venusia. At Postumius's proposal, the Senate sent 20,000 colonists to occupy Venusia. In establishing by far the largest colony to date and placing it in the Samnite heartland, the Romans strengthened their control over a people on the verge of defeat.
Yeah, exactly. So the Romans literally conquered the Samnites, and now they're going to settle it. They're going to set up colonies there, you know. What purpose? I don't know. Colonies can have literally different reasons for being made up, right? People have this very, very, very wrong idea that colonialism is just the Western European extraction style of, well, more so British style of extraction. And even then, that's still wrong, because the British Empire, it was a trade empire. Its colonies were set up for the sake of trading with the mother country, aka England, to give profit to the mother country, right? That was the whole point of the British Empire for the most part. But anyways,
in 290 BC, Rome sent both consuls to Samnium in a final push to secure their surrender. Dentatus, the general who would later defeat Pyrrhus, and his colleague Rufinus defeated the Samnites in several engagements. Details of the campaign and treaty are absent, but the Samnites finally sued for peace. They were recognized by the Romans as autonomous allies, but they were to be subordinate to Rome and were forced to give up land as compensation. This was not the last time that the Samnites fought the Romans. As early as 282 BC, they would rebel, and Samnite tribes later allied with Pyrrhus and Hannibal. But never again would the Samnites be a rival to Roman hegemony.
You mean hegemony?
If you stayed around this far...
That is... Wow. They know Samnites also helped Hannibal. That's cool. You made it all the way to the end of this video. If you have any suggestions, man, make sure you go and comment it down below. If you made it all the way here, just like the video and go check out all my other reactions on my channel, man. Obviously, make sure you subscribe too, man. Thank you for watching and goodbye.